What's going on, guys? I'm Tommy, and I'm coming at you with another review. Today, I'm going to be reviewing the Hot Toys Darth Maul as seen in Season 7 of The Clone Wars. This appearance for Darth Maul, the only thing that makes him Season 7 specific really is the double-bladed lightsaber. Other than this, it is the exact same design that we saw most notably from Season 5 of The Clone Wars, where we have the whole arc where Maul and Savage team up with the Black Sun, the Pikes, and the Mandalorians, Death Watch, to take over Mandalore. So, you know, a lot of this costume is seen more heavily in Season 5, but, you know, I'm happy to also have this look in my collection now. I've been recently getting into this kind of faction. You know, I did pre-order the recently revealed Savage Opress Hot Toys, and with the Black Friday sale at Sideshow.com, I knew I had to get this figure for 25% off. You can see this actually doesn't even really fit my review area. You can kind of see the edges of the background here. That's because this box is actually just a little bit taller than your average Hot Toys box. You'll see that the shape is quite a bit different too. So this is a regular Hot Toys box here in front of you. This is the 501st Legion Clone Trooper from the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and you'll see that this has some height over that. I'm going to push it back just a little bit more here, and you can see it is just a little bit taller, so it doesn't really fit the parameters of what I'm used to reviewing, but that's okay. I'm more than happy to still open this figure up and review it for you guys. This is a differently shaped box because it is made to resemble the sarcophagus that they kind of hold Maul in Season 7. I'll show you that in just a second. Other than that, though, the presentation is mostly the same as other Hot Toys. You have the glam shot of the figure here with the Star Wars logo in that chrome. Down here, you have the character's name, Darth Maul, and then you also have the Hot Toys logo down at the bottom right. On this side, it's just pretty generic. You have your Star Wars logo on the bottom here, and then on this side, it's pretty much the same thing, but you also have a Disney logo that's hiding down there somewhere, and then on the back of the box, you just get all your legalese, all this stuff. You don't have to worry about not feeding this to your babies because it's not marketed for kids. So with all that out of the way, what you're going to do now is you're going to actually pull up, this is a slip cover, and then you get the lovely art for the sarcophagus. It is in the lore of the Clone Wars that this is basically the last of its kind. This is what holds, you know, a Force-sensitive person from being able to use the Force with when the Mandalorians would capture someone. So it is really cool. I love the art design with all the stylized Mandalorian helmets on the front. It looks really, really cool. You've got, I'm assuming, a Jedi in the middle here, and then actually just like in the show, you can kind of see he's kind of covered in a bunch of layers of plastic, but you can see Darth Maul's eyes in there just like you could with the TV show, and I really think that's cool. All this art, all this Mandalorian art kind of follows all along the sides and back of the package, and I think it was really smart they made this double as the packaging for the figure. I think that looks amazing, and it was really, really creative on Hot Toys' part. Of course, then, there's no tape or anything. You're just going to lift the lid of the sarcophagus up and off of the packaging, which will reveal us with Lord Maul himself. There he is in the packaging, looking absolutely amazing. I'm really excited to check this guy out. Obviously, underneath the first layer, which holds just the figure, there is another layer which gives you your instructions and all of your accessories as well. We have quite a bit of accessories with this Darth Maul, which is exciting. All right, everybody, we've got Maul out of the packaging. This actually took a lot of effort for me to get him completely undone. Hot Toys does it so over the top with all the plastic and kind of foam pieces that they use to keep all the plastic from rubbing onto the cloth and keep the cloth from running onto the skin, and just keeping everything very premium when you open it up. With Darth Maul, I actually had to almost take apart the entire upper body because you had pieces of like papery kind of material, like this kind of stuff, that were covering the arms underneath the gloves. So you had to take off the hands, take off the gloves, and then actually undo the Velcro on the back of the belt, get that all squared away, and then you can pull down these parts, and then there's a big piece of paper that's kind of covering his whole torso here. That's what this is. And then, you know, it was a very involved process. If you're not familiar with Hot Toys, I would actually not recommend this as being your first, or if you really, really want this version of Darth Maul and it's your first Hot Toy, then make sure you watch a review before you kind of take him all apart, because it can be very frustrating. For me, I knew how to do it because I've had a few Hot Toys before, so I kind of knew what I was getting into. But if this is your first, definitely just be wary of that. These things are not delicate by any means, but they're a premium collector product. They're not meant to be really wrenched on or anything like that like toys are. So just make sure when you're pulling this apart and you're, you know, getting all the plastic and the foam out of the upper body, that you're just being careful with it. All of my PSA aside, this figure, as with all Hot Toys, looks absolutely insanely ridiculously amazing. Just right off the bat, you know, the way that they've matched all the different tones of the plastics and the fabrics, everything looks phenomenal. One of the first things I want to do, obviously, is look at the head. So we'll actually just pop Darth Maul's head off. It is just held in by a magnet, which I have to admit, I am a fan of this, as opposed to the head peg they usually use for these. Look at the face on this Darth Maul. I gotta say, this is one of the best faces, you know, that I've ever seen. This is just screams Darth Maul to me. The horns are super, super sharp too. These are super sharp horns. Look at those eyes, just the glossy yellow Sith eyes. He does have rolling eyeballs, which are inside the head. I don't know if you can see this very well, those little gray pieces there. Those are for rolling eyeballs. It is amazing. They've just done the face tattoos, look great. They got his yellow teeth perfectly. This looks great for an older Darth Maul. Darth Maul's been through a lot since the Phantom Menace. I absolutely have to point out the fact that they painted on the earring as well. But yeah, this is a fantastic look for Darth Maul. Just everything about this face looks amazing. So, and again, just a magnet, so you just pop it on and then his head is on. You can kind of pose it any which way that you want. Again, let's take a look a little bit more closely at the fabric here. So looking underneath here, this is all loose. You have two layers of fabric. One is kind of a more complete tunic piece. The other is just kind of the outer tunic that a lot of your Jedi have in the prequels. I think it looks great. The way they've stitched it makes it so that it kind of wrinkles on its own. So it folds on its own. You don't really have to mess with that. I don't know that this is pleather. When you look underneath this, it's kind of stitched underneath, so I'm not sure. I think this is just a fabric with a little kind of overlay. I don't really think this is pleather. But you know, I really appreciate that this armor here, it's velcroed on the shoulders, is hard plastic. I was kind of wondering how they would do this, because I mean, it kind of looks like it's a shirt. However, it is an armor piece. So I like that what they've done with it here. It's again velcroed on, very easy to move around on the figure, and if it falls off, you don't have to worry about it breaking on you. I love what they've done with the belt. The belt is super thick, and again looks in that leathery kind of faux leather material with all those awesome paint applications. Everything is weathered to the nines. You can also see that he's got little plug-ins here on both sides of the belt for lightsabers, so you can stick weapons there, whether it be the dark saber or his single-sided lightsaber or the one that he gets later on in Season 7. You got a little pouch back here on the back. And again, this helped me when I was pulling the figure apart to get all the plastic out. This whole belt is Velcro, so it can all be removed, and it gives you much easier access to everything underneath. I didn't have to try too hard to get all that stuff out because I was able to take the belt off. But again, looks awesome. I also just kind of want to pull this all back here so you can see how they've painted and sculpted all his chest tattoos there. Look at how phenomenal that looks, guys. I mean, they've just done a great job. You could technically make this a shirtless Maul if you wanted to, but you know, we're gonna keep it PG here today. No shirtless Mauls on the review. And we've got, again, just look at these bracers here. With those awesome buckles. Each one has 3 buckles, similarly to the belt, and it just looks fantastic. They did put some, I think this is pleather, underneath, kind of between the sculpted hands and the sculpted bracers, just to keep the look consistent. I'm glad that they did that, especially because the wrist pegs on this guy are red. They're the same color as his flesh tone, so I'm really glad that they ended up going with the black here, just to keep it all consistent. Looks really good. Down here at the pants, we've got all kinds of stitching down here. I love that they've stitched in these little pockets here. I wonder if these don't work. No, they don't, but it is cool. They are glued down, so you know, don't yam on them too much. But again, the pants are pretty straightforward. They are just kind of elastic at the bottoms here, exposing the joints for the knees, which you wouldn't even notice because of how well they've kind of seamlessly made these end. I think again that Hot Toys does a fantastic job with the fabrics on these characters. And then of course, looking at the robotic legs, I just love all of the sculpted and painted detail on these. They just do such a good job with texture, I think. I think that's Hot Toys' kind of biggest advantage they have over other companies, is the way that they can show texture through just paint. I think that they've done a great job. The knees look fantastic, all the sculpt work, everything just looks great on these. And they don't look too animated. I know this look only appeared in animation, so there's only so much they can do without it looking, completely animated, but I think they've done a great job in doing their best when it comes to this design. All right, so moving on to articulation. So even though he's got a magnet at the head, I would still call it technically a ball joint because the magnet connects in kind of a ball joint fashion. However, I would recommend just like picking it up and kind of setting it down and adjusting it based on how you want it. With the magnet attached, he can look not really down at all. However, he can look up a good amount here. He's going to get some good tilt either side here, and he can also look right and left, obviously. Underneath all the clothing here, he's got some ball joints that are hiding underneath in the shoulders here, so you can lift those shoulders up. They are going to be hindered just a little bit by just the fabric and the armor here, so just be wary of that. And again, you don't want to yam on these too much, but you can still get some decent lift out of those, about 45 degrees, which is okay, not the best I've seen. They do swivel technically a full 360 degrees. However, again, I don't really want to screw with that just because the fabric and everything is going to be hindering that articulation. He does also have a butterfly joint effect here, so you can move those forward and back, which is great. At the midsection, he's got a ball joint, which gives you plenty of range. You're going to get some awesome motion out of this midsection joint here. And then he's got a ball joint at the hips. So these are going to give you some good range. Again, you are pretty much just limited by the fabric of the pants. So as far as you want to kind of push the fabric is how far you'll get. It is very good range, though, I can tell you that. He can bring the legs completely forward in a sitting position. He can bring them back a decent amount as well, which is great. And then, of course, he does have a swivel for the thigh here. Realizing I completely overlooked the lower arm articulation, he's got some double jointed elbows here. So these elbows are going to get you about 90 degrees of bend, which is solid. There is an elbow swivel built in here as opposed to your usual bicep swivel with some of these characters. And then of course he has the hinge and swivel joints at the wrists here, so you'll kind of hinge them whatever direction and then you can swivel them from there. Going back over to the legs here at the knees, he's got some pinned double jointed knees here, which are obviously hidden by that knee armor here, and that you can also freely articulate the knee armor however you'd like to help you articulate that. You're going to get more than 90 degrees bend here, which is awesome. And then down here at the ankles, you have a hinge which goes forward a very good amount and also goes back a really good amount too. And then I'm kind of checking to see if there's any kind of swivel. It's very tight, which is good because they're hinges. You don't want these to get loose over time with a figure of this scale. However, I guess I'd call it like a forward-facing pin for rocker type of articulation here. So with that out of the way, I'm really excited to start checking out Maul with some of his accessories so we can start posing him up. So as I'd mentioned before, he does have some rolling eyeballs here. So one of the accessories that they give you is this little tool that lets you kind of roll the eyeballs so you can move them in any which direction. For now, we're going to leave his eyes facing forward. If I decide to pose him a different way, then we'll change the eyeballs. An accessory that's pretty cool that they give Maul, I don't remember ever seeing this, but it's a cool addition nonetheless, is this hood that they give him. So you can see there's three actually little bits of Velcro here. So what you would do is not pull off his head with the magnet, there's pieces connected here on the back so that you can kind of tuck this into his head here, and you can put this hood on. It is wired, so you can get some better articulation out of it. I'll show you in just a minute how this looks. So I actually thought this was going to be a real pain in the ass to put on. However, I was wrong. The three Velcro pieces are right within the inside of the kind of shirt piece here. They're super easy to put on, and because the top of the hood, all the edges here are wired, it's very easy to get this to sit on his head. Obviously, the more you play with it, the more natural of a look you're going to get out of it. However, this looked pretty good here. Again, I haven't really messed with it all that much, but I personally, I don't think he ever has the hood in Season 7, so I'm going to be omitting that look. However, it is a great accessory to have for Darth Maul here. I think it's an awesome addition. Something else I want to show off for Darth Maul really quick is he does come with some swappable hands, both gloved and ungloved. So for the gloved hands, you do get a pair of gripping hands. These are done obviously just as the black gloved look. These are meant to hold the lightsabers. And then of course you do get a splayed hand as well for force movements and things like that. They do also give you the luxury of having some ungloved hands, so you do get some just idle hands. These are kind of just loose gripping hands. You do get the tattoos sculpted and painted on there, and then he's got some interestingly colored fingernails as well. And they also give you the luxury of having the lightsaber gripping hands for the ungloved hands as well, which is awesome. And so this next one here is a little bit more than a hand. This is a swappable lower arm. So what this is the light up version for the lightsabers. You'll see there's a little plug-in for batteries here, and they actually do give you the batteries separately in the package here, so you can do this yourself. You would unscrew this, put the batteries in, flip it on, and then you would plug this into his right forearm here. And of course, they're also going to just give you the regular version of his lightsaber if you're not a fan of swapping arms out or, doing the light up features on these guys. So I think it's great that they give you this feature to have just the regular lightsaber here. You cannot split this, unfortunately. I would probably opt to just go with the half that is Darth Maul's, Episode 1 saber. However, it is what it is, and you do have the option to actually put the saber on him as well, so on either side of his body, and that'll sit in there nicely with friction as long as you don't really shake around the figure much, but you can actually have it on his belt. Of course, with Darth Maul, they give you some lightsaber blades as well. These are a very light red. These plug right into your lightsaber, no problem. They're going to do the same thing for the light up saber. This is what those look like all put together. And again, they make these a little lighter so that if you want to light up the saber, they'll kind of illuminate a little better. But there you go with the saber blades. And an accessory that I think is awesome is they also give you a set of swooshing saber blades. These are again really, really light, almost a pink, not really a red, depending on how the light hits it. And that's again, they're keeping in mind the light up feature. It just helps the light kind of travel through the sculpts here. And I think it's awesome addition for this character. I think it looks awesome. And of course, being a Season 7 Darth Maul, they do give you a Season 7 specific accessory, that being the clone kind of forearm armor that he steals off of a clone trooper after he rips the clone's arm off by trapping him in a door. That was an awesome scene. It's Darth Maul's hallway scene, people call it. And it's really just a piece of clone armor. It's weathered very nicely. They have the little comm link here, and it looks great. And another thing that I always commend Hot Toys for is including an extra set of wrist pegs. That is something that is very, very helpful. I know a lot of people that collect Hot Toys really appreciate this, and a lot of people that collect action figures with ball-jointed wrists that break would love to have something like this. And this just goes to show how Hot Toys always has the consumer in mind when they are releasing product. And our last accessory we get with Darth Maul is the display stand. You get kind of the Venator / Imperial Cruiser floor look to the base, and then you also get the Darth Maul kind of nameplate here, which looks absolutely fantastic. And then of course there's also the little display stand with the little crotch grabber here, which can be adjusted. You can actually pull this all the way out if you need to. This just plugs directly into the bottom of the base here. And once that's plugged in, this is what it looks like there. So we'll use this later on posing Darth Maul. Real quick, I just wanted to show how you would use the little piece here. So I'd recommend just getting a small Phillips head screwdriver. You can unscrew the little panel here, and you're going to use all three of the batteries they give you to plug it in. All right, so here is what this looks like with the regular blades. As you can see, with the lights on, it's pretty bright to the naked eye. I'm not sure how well it's picking up on camera. With the lights off, however, that's when you can really see how well this lights up. It looks awesome. And with the swooshing blades in, here's how that looks lit up here. I don't even know if you can really tell that it's lit up with the lights on. With the lights off, here's what the swooshing blades look like. Again, a very, very nice light here. You get some really, really nice looks here for this this lightsaber. I think it's an awesome accessory, and I kind of love it. I think it's different and unique, and it's cool. I think I should do this more. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of see if I can pose Maul with some accessories here, see what he looks like with everything. So when it comes to Hot Toys, I highly recommend just kind of posing the item that you want to pose in the hand first, and then just kind of connecting everything to the wrist. Darth Maul. Darth Maul. All right, here's a pretty basic pose with Darth Maul here. I think he looks fantastic with the lightsaber in hand. It's a Darth Maul figure. You put a lightsaber in Darth Maul's hands, he's gonna look amazing. It's really, really cool, honestly. I love the stability of the lower legs, too. I gotta say, this guy's really hard to fidget around with compared to other Hot Toys that I've handled, and I think that just comes a lot from just all the moving pieces. I'm used to, like, Clone Troopers, where it's just a body glove and armor. This guy is really involved with the posing, but I gotta say, once you get a pose that you like, it is extremely satisfying here. Between just the lightsaber, the way that looks, and I think it looks fantastic, might I add, and then just the way that the way that poses. I mean, dude, I was able to get this in a one-legged pose right now without even the stand on it. I mean, just looking at how amazing this figure looks, I really think it's worth your money. However, I would not recommend it as your first Hot Toy, just because this one is so involved, especially when compared to other Hot Toys that I've handled. And again, you can achieve some really good poses with this guy. I think he does look really, really good, but again, I can't stress enough, I probably don't recommend this as your first Hot Toy. Again, very, very involved compared to a lot of other Hot Toys that I've handled. You know, I have probably like 7 or 8 in my collection now, and this one is just a lot more involved. This has got a lot of layers to it, and it's a different articulation scheme than some of the more recent ones as well, so just bear that in mind if you do plan on picking this up. But like I said, guys, you know, this is definitely a Hot Toy. I mean, Hot Toys are all friggin' amazing. I definitely recommend getting all of them if you can, but this is definitely not for the faint of heart for a Hot Toys collector. If you're a casual collector and you're thinking about just getting a Hot Toy, I would probably say don't get this one as your first. Again, it is very involved. There's a lot, you know, between taking all the plastic and removing some of the fabrics and the clothing layers to get all that plastic and that foam out from in between the layers to, you know, kind of figuring out the articulation and how things work. I did have some trouble with the wrist pegs, like swapping the hands on this guy, and that just came from, you know, trying to, there's the faux leather layer I was talking about, there's the shirt layer, there's the hard sculpted, you know, bracers. It's just a lot, you know, and it can be frustrating at points, you know, if you're not used to Hot Toys, you're not used to the involvement. So I'd say if you're a Hot Toys guy, I think you'll love this. If you're new to the Hot Toys game, then probably wait till you get a couple other ones before you get this one. With that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did and you're not yet subscribed, subscribe to Blitz Transmissions. I've got awesome Star Wars content coming out all the time. Make sure to check out my social media, all of which is linked in the description below. That's going to be all for this review, guys. I'll catch you for the next one, and may the Force be with you.